We're getting pretty close to the end of season number 5 here in the Miami Marlins franchise here on MLB The Show 23. We are currently at the end of August, and our team is looking to position ourselves here for another potential playoff run. We are currently 81-52 in the midst of a major West Coast road trip. We've already played against the Dodgers, and we're starting things out against the best team in baseball in San Diego today. Our September schedule's pretty tough. Other than the Nationals twice and the Reds, we're playing good teams the rest of the way, some of which we will probably see again in the postseason. The Marlins are in the midst of their 34th season as an MLB team, and they have made it to the playoffs for consecutive seasons for the first time over the last 2 years, and we're hoping we can make that 3 in a row. Despite being in the big leagues for a third of the century, the Marlins have never won their division. Never, ever. The only times that this team has made the playoffs have been off of wild card spots. So we're finally looking to change that here, and we've got a good opportunity to do so, leading the Mets by 5.5 games in the National League East. The Mets led the division for most of the year, but we have been red hot throughout the summer. Since the start of July, we have been the best team in baseball, and it hasn't been particularly close. After the first few months of the year, our team was inconsistent and really not all that good. Right now, the offense seems to be clicking. The pitching seems to be clicking as much as it can. And overall, I feel like we are in a pretty good spot, but there are still a lot of questions that need to be answered over this final month of the season. I want to see the offense healthy and productive. Nick Fortes comes back probably in a few weeks, and that'll be the first time since the first week of the year that our entire lineup is healthy at the same time, barring any sort of new injury. As for the pitching, we've got 2 aces with Sandy Alcantara and Edward Cabrera, who have arguably been the 2 best pitchers in the National League. But the rest of the pitching's been very inconsistent. We're getting close to September call-ups, and we're going to see some new faces here. We might give somebody like Robbie Jones an opportunity. Steven Alez might come back up. It seemed like we had found our third starter in Max Meyer, but he went down for the year. Yuri Perez has continued to struggle since being recalled up. His ERA is still in the 7s, and his whip is still above 2. The bullpen does seem to be doing pretty well, though, with the additions of Johan Duran and Griffin Jax. So, currently, we are on a 10-game West Coast road trip. We took 2 against Arizona. We took 2 against the Dodgers, which is a big deal, including this nice win with Edward Cabrera cementing his Cy Young case over Kyle Wright. Cabrera currently the comfortable favorite to win the Cy Young. And now we've got 4 in San Diego against the Padres, the only team in all of baseball who has a better record than us. Despite that, they're only the 14th ranked team in the game. And on paper, they're not that scary. Offensively, obviously, they're led by Bogarts, Tatis, and Machado. The rest of their lineup, on paper at least, isn't that crazy. As for the pitching, it's a very similar rotation to us in the sense that they've got 2 aces with Dylan Cease and Julio Urias, well-known woman respecter. Jose Suarez has been pretty good, but the back end of the rotation and their bullpen has been very inconsistent, just like us. So I feel like their pitching staff is pretty similar to our team's. Their high-end talent offensively has probably been a little bit better than ours, but the rest of their lineup is a lot more well-rounded overall. We're going to pitch in this second game. I want to see Yuri Perez. I want to see him against a really good team with the lights shining bright. And the first game did not go too well. We lost 21-2. Not ideal whatsoever. We did not look very good. Obviously, allowing 21 runs is the thing you're going to notice here. So the Padres scored their 21 runs off of 17 hits in the 8 innings that they had and at bat. They scored in 7 of them. Jeffrey Springs was not very good. The bullpen, though, was especially atrocious. Gennaro Miller, Jordan Hicks, and Camilo Duvall were god-awful. So that'll bring us into Game 2. Woody Landry's been banged up. He's good to go now. Surely, Game 2 cannot go any worse than Game 1, I would think. We lost by nearly 20 runs, for Christ's sakes. But on the flip side, if Jeffrey Springs and our bullpen is going to pitch that poorly, what will the Padres offense do against Yuri Perez, who is an ERA in the 7s and allows over 2 base runners per inning? So yes, I am a little bit scared for Yuri Perez, who has to show something soon or else he's not going to get any more opportunities with this team or maybe in Major League Baseball, period. Let's take a look at both lineups. No Jesus Sanchez today for the Marlins. He's getting the day off. mainly because the Padres are starting a lefty. That being Jose Suarez, who is their regular number 3 starter, and he's been quite good this year. 3.25 ERA, 1.09 WHIP. He's a really good number 3 behind Dylan Cease, who would be at the top of the Cy Young list if not for Edward Cabrera. And then Julio Urias, who's also really good, but he hits women, so we don't need to gas him up. Bryan De La Cruz will get things started, and he rips this one up the middle. The Padres will not make the play, and De La Cruz is aboard with an infield single. I mentioned it, I'm pretty sure in the last episode, that it feels like that Bryan De La Cruz is sort of the unsung hero of this team. He very quietly has really stepped up throughout the last 3 or so months. Luis Robert hits this one well into right center. Back at the track, it's gone! A quick start for the Marlins. A 2-run homer by Luis Robert, and it's 2-0. The Marlins saw San Diego just run up the score on them yesterday, dropping 21. So Miami knows they've got to get started quickly. Jazz Chisholm takes a walk. That'll give the Marlins a base runner as they look to add to their early lead. Chisholm aboard here for Woody Landry, who has performed quite well since coming back from injury. Jazz looks to swipe second. He is just barely safe. And so now the Marlins have a runner in scoring position. Following pitch for Woody Landry, he's ahead 2-1. Gets a pitch to hit and rips this one into the left center gap. That'll score Jazz Chisholm with ease. Probably would have scored him had he stayed on first, to be fair. And that'll be an RBI double for Woody Landry. And the Miami Marlins lead it 3-0. A very quick start here, but they are not done. Jacob Berry now up the middle. Nice play by Suarez, and that will wrap up the top of the first inning. But a big start for the Fish. They get 3 with a 2-run homer by Luis Robert and an RBI double by Woody Landry. So Yuri Perez already has a lot of run support. There is no excuse for him not to perform today. He has been really bad this year. He's playing against, obviously, a great offense. It's put up or shut up time, now or never. We'll start with Stuart Fairchild, who strikes out. I don't know why the Padres are batting a 199 hitter leadoff, but okay. Xander Bogaerts hits this one well into the gap. Chisholm chasing after it. He will not make the play, and this one will bounce over to the wall. That'll go for a double. So San Diego has a runner in scoring position as they look to cut into this early Marlins lead. Fernando Tatis Jr. with a grounder to short. Bichette blocks the ball with his glove, forcing Bogaerts to stay at second. But Tatis is aboard with an infield single. So already the Padres are getting some early base runners. 2 on, 2 away for Jared Walsh. Rips it into right field. That's going to drop. Runner looks to head home. The throw from De La Cruz is just a little bit offline. And it'll be an RBI single for Jared Walsh. And the Padres make it 3-1. Already not a good start for Perez, and it's not going to get any better. TJ Friedl draws a walk, and the bases are loaded for Tyler Freeman. The 38th pitch of the inning is a grounder to first. Landry tags the base, and the Padres leave him loaded. So this is what it feels like to get out of the bases loaded jam, because Marlins opponents get this feeling all the time. Not a great start for Yuri Perez, but the Marlins do lead by 2. Let's go top 2. De La Cruz up with 2 away. Pitch from Suarez. Liner hit sharply into left field, but it will be caught. And after a quick start to this game, Suarez retires the side, and we go bottom 2. Darren Russell up for the Padres, acquired at the deadline from Milwaukee with a single into right field. Darren Russell was somebody the Marlins really wanted to draft back in Season 1. He ended up going in the first round to Milwaukee, and he hasn't been all that good of a big league player so far, but at least he's in the big leagues. Fairchild grounds into an inning-ending double play. Good job by Yuri Perez to get out of the jam. Could this be the start of a momentum boost here for Yuri Perez? And hopefully he can continue to pitch well as we go top 3. Bo Bichette, full count, rips this one down the opposite field line, and fair. That one will go for extra bases as that one goes all the way to the corner. Going to be a close play at second, if not for a bad throw. And Bo Bichette is safe with a leadoff double as the Marlins look to add some more runs. Bo is now on third with 1 away here for Jazz Chisholm. Just got to put the ball in play and he should score, and that's exactly what happens. Liner to right, it's caught. Bichette will look to tag up. Close play at the plate, and the throw is not in time. It's a successful sacrifice fly for Jazz Chisholm, and the Marlins lead it 4-1. It's good to see the offense producing early after getting utterly embarrassed and obliterated in the last game. And Yuri Perez looks to be pitching better after the first inning as he strikes out Xander Bogaerts. Can he do the same with Fernando Tatis Jr.? He will. Tatis, a potential National League MVP candidate, goes down on strikes. We'll see if Yuri Perez can retire the big three. He does not, because Johnny Hustle, Manny Machado, rips it into left center. That one is gone, and it is now 4-2. Slam Diego with a home run at number 25 on the year for Manny Machado. Right when Yuri Perez was really starting to pitch well, that happens. TJ Friedl now, high and deep to start the bottom of the fourth inning at the track, at the wall. It's caught by Brian De La Cruz. That could have been bad news bears, but luckily he comes down with it. Tyler Freeman now with one away. Hits this one sharply down the line, past the glove of Alec Boehm, rolling all the way to the left field corner. Jacob Berry tracks it down. Berry quietly has been honestly really good offensively since the All-Star break. We haven't really shown him enough love, but that will go for a double for Freeman. Darren Russell now, the former Tennessee Volunteer, lofts this one into right center. De La Cruz can only watch it. A two-run shot for Darren Russell, and the Slam Diego Padres tie it for his 7th of the year. Russell really has not been good this season. His OPS is in the mid-500s, but he's off to a good start today, tying it for the Padres, and that will wrap up another disappointing start for Yuri Perez, who has been back up for the last month, and his issues have gotten worse, if anything. Adonis Takadopoulos will be coming out of the bullpen to replace him. The lefty is an ERA at 3.9 as he looks to get out of the inning here. Facing off against the top of the order, it's Stuart Fairchild, and he will go down on the knuckleball. The classic for Takadopoulos, but a nice inning for San Diego. They tie it with a two-run shot by Darren Russell. Into the 5th now. We'll see if the Marlins can potentially get this lead back. De La Cruz up with one away. Got a hit back in his first at-bat. 1-2 count. And he is going down on the circle change. A really nice pitch from Jose Suarez, who quietly has pitched really well. Since a rough first inning, he's been quite good. Now against Bo Bichette, 1-2. Swings at a pitch he definitely should not have. A circle change well outside. Suarez makes the play, and that'll likely wrap up his night. 5 innings, 4 earned runs. In a vacuum, that doesn't look great, but after that first inning, he's been quite solid. We'll see if San Diego can keep the offense rolling here in the bottom of the 5th as Xander Bogaerts gets this one to the corner of the wall. Good throw by De La Cruz to nearly throw the runner out, but Bogaerts is safe at second with a double, and San Diego is a runner in scoring position. Machado into center field. Chisholm can't make the play. He decided not to dive for it to try to just have the ball bounce for an easy single, but he misplayed it. And Manny Machado finds himself at third with an RBI triple, and the Padres lead at 5-4. Machado with his second hit and run of the game. Jared Walsh lines it into center. Jazz Chisholm will make the play, a diving snag, but Manny Machado will score off the sacrifice, and it is now 6-4. So the Padres lead by 2. Not a great inning here for Adonis Takadopoulos, and it's not going to get any better. TJ Friedl into right field. It's gone. Slam Diego with their 3rd home run in as many innings, his 12th of the year, and it is now 7-4. So Takadopoulos is going to be yanked out of the game. He'll be replaced by Jordan Hicks. The Marlins pitching staff is very quickly falling apart for a second consecutive day. They're probably not going to allow 21 again, but they're not looking too hot right now. Against Tyler Freeman, it's a liner to third. Boehm makes the play, but a couple of big innings here for the Padres. They get 2 in the 4th and then 3 in the 5th to lead at 7-4. Ryan Weathers will come into the game here for San Diego in the 6th. Guardians franchise legend, 1.62 ERA. He's quietly been really good for them. One of their most important bullpen pieces as he walks Woody Landry with 2 away, so he's on base for a second time today. That'll bring up Boehm with a full count, and he lines this one sharply into center field, and it's going to drop! Woody Landry stopped, and now he's going to have to keep it moving. The ball rolls all the way to the wall. Boehm for third. He is out, going for a triple. Woody Landry does score, however, and so the Marlins bring it within 2 as it's now 7-5. Hicks still in the game against the catcher, Luis Torrens. who strikes out on the 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Here's Darren Russell, hits it sharply into center, his third hit of the game. Darren Russell, as bad as he's been this year, has been really good today for San Diego, showing off that upside that the Brewers, and I guess the Marlins, saw in him when he came out of college. Liner to third, Bohm blocks it, throw to first, not in time, and it's an infield single for Xander Bogaerts. And these relievers are continuing to really be unimpressive. Jordan Hicks is going to be yanked for Griffin Jax, 3.25 ERA. The bad thing about using all of these relievers is that a lot of these guys are gassed. The Marlins used most of their bullpen last night. Grounder here over to Bichette. He makes the flip over to second. And so the Marlins get out of the inning unscathed as it remains 7-5. Jaime Barria comes into the game here for San Diego in the seventh, 3.24 ERA. Barria was a starter with the Angels. He's transitioned into a reliever, and he's been a pretty good player as he strikes out Isaac Stu coming in off the bench. Might see Jesus Sanchez come in off the bench as well. Austin Wells, the catcher, now with a full count. Goes down looking on the inside circle change. He does not like the call, but he's not going to get it. Ha-Seong Kim, the former Padre, against his old squad, pops this one up into center. It should be caught pretty easily. And it will. A 1-2-3 inning for Jaime Barria. I assume the Padres are going to look to the back end of their bullpen to wrap this game up, leading by 2. Griffin Jax still in. He's looking good as he strikes out Jared Walsh. Friedel, who had the homer in the last at-bat, hits that one over the glove of Bohm. The Marlins can never have an easy inning, pitching-wise. That'll go for a double, and San Diego has another runner in scoring position as they look to potentially add to their lead. Tyler Freeman's up. Hits this one past the glove of Ha-Seong Kim, who does not give much of an effort going for that ball. Lackluster defense from Ha-Seong Kim. That'll drive in a run. It's now 8-5. Luis Torrens up now for San Diego. Grounds this one to short. Bichette deflects it. Throw to first. Not in time. So the Padres just keep stacking base runners. They've got to have like 14, 15 hits today. Russell has 3 of them, but he grounds out to second, and Kim will make the play. The Padres add another run, though. They lead at 8-5 and are in the driver's seat as we go into the 8th inning. Nick Anderson, the veteran righty, is in the game for San Diego. He'll start with the top of the order. De La Cruz with a liner to first, hit hard, but it is going to be caught by Walsh. Bo Bichette now 1-2 with 1 away. Pitch on its way, and that's called a ball. Looked like it should have been a strikeout, but Bichette keeps the at-bat alive. He gets a lucky call from the umpire, and he will capitalize with a single into center, his second hit of the game. And so the Marlins have a base runner. They've just got to get guys on. They haven't consistently hit the ball well today, but if they can get base runners, they can bring themselves back into the game. That'll bring up Luis Robert, homered back in the first inning, and Robert splits that one between the first and second baseman for a single into right. Alrighty, so the offense is getting some runners together. That's 2 aboard. Tying run is at the plate, and the Padres make a pitching change. Ciano Perez, the lefty, comes in for San Diego. They want the lefty-on-lefty matchup here with Woody Landry, who's got runners on the corners. He's ahead 3-1, and Landry checks his swing. Umpire says he did not go around. That'll be a walk, and oh dear God, the bases are loaded. What an opportunity here for Alec Bohm, the potential go-ahead run with the tying runner aboard. The count is 2-2 for Bohm. And he jams this one. That was a really good pitch. It was in the strike zone. He had to swing at it, but he pops it up into center. And the Miami Marlins leave the bases loaded. Tickle me surprised. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th inning. It's time for Paul Sewald to pitch. Sewald has been exceptional over these last couple of months as Bogaerts grounds it to second. Good play by Ha-Seong Kim, trying to make up for his poor defensive effort in the previous inning, as he gets the diving grab for the out. Now against Tatis, swinging a miss, and Paul Sewald makes it through the 8th. The Marlins still trail by 3, though. It's not looking particularly good. We'll go top 9. Adrian Morejon, once a top prospect. He looked like a bust at one point in his career, but the Padres converted him into a reliever, and now he's a great closer, looking for his 42nd save of the year, which leads all major leaguers as he strikes out Isaac Stu. Game comes down to Ha-Seong Kim, the 3-2. This one is hit sharply into right field, and it will be caught by Tatis. And the San Diego Padres win Game 2 of this series here at home by the score of 8-5. Going into the Dodgers series, the Marlins had 7 games on the road against the Dodgers and the Padres. And I said the Marlins needed to win 4 of those games, 4 out of 7. Currently, they're 2-3. We're not on pace to do it. Now, luckily, the final 2 games will be with Sandy and Edward Cabrera on the mound. And that's going to be important because the pitching has been an abomination so far. Not to say the offense was great. We did nothing pretty much after the first inning. But the pitching has been the clear issue so far with 29 runs allowed in 2 games. That's nearly 2 runs per inning. Yuri Perez with another bad start. His career continues to just spiral downwards. The bullpen really was not much better at all. Jose Suarez was solid, and then the bullpen for San Diego was quite good. A rough loss there. We've been outscored 29-7. That's basically a football score in the first 2 games of the series. And luckily, again, we will have Sandy Alcantara and Edward Cabrera on the mound for these last 2 games. But we just need more consistency from these back-end guys. Springs has been fine, but up and down. Tyrell Berry's 19 years old, and Yuri Perez is a disaster. We need these 2 aces to go out and win their games, and it's not like we're playing great pitchers. Blake Snell's been disappointing, and Connor Prelup, the former Marlin, hasn't been too good. So luckily, we do end up winning both games, and both pitchers were playing out of their minds. We win the first game 11-5. The offense woke up in a major way. 6 runs in the second, 4 in the third. Jazz Chisholm went deep twice and drove in 7. Alcantara went 8 innings, allowing 4. And then the second game, we had no offense. We did not score in regulation, and guess what? It did not matter. Edward Cabrera is him. 8 scoreless innings. The bullpen finished off the job, despite the fact that other than our top 2 hitters in the order, the rest of the team had 0 hits, and we still won. We won our previous 2 starts with Cabrera and Sandy, but we're struggling to win games when they don't pitch. These 2 guys are showing how valuable they are to us, and it's no surprise they comfortably lead the NL in pitching war. Sandy led the NL in pitching war for most of the year. Now it's Edward Cabrera who's passed him. Kodai Senga, the only pitcher in all of baseball who has a higher WAR than them. Obviously, it's by far the best pitching WAR on the team. Other than that, we've got, Jeffrey Springs, who's fine, Max Meyer, who's hurt. The pitching just hasn't been consistent. I think both of these 2 guys need to be put in the MVP conversation because they're so valuable to our team's success. So we do end up winning 4 out of 7 games against the Dodgers and Padres, so I guess it's a success, although we went 0-3 in games that those 2 guys didn't pitch. Let's now simulate 2 September call-ups as Nick Fortes is going to be taken off the injured list. He's still going to be hurt for the next week or 2, but he's now on the roster, and Reese McGuire will go down to AAA. So we ended up losing this game to the Cubs 1-0. A phenomenal display of offense these last couple of games. 1 run in 19 innings. Phenomenal work. And we allowed 1 run in those 2 matchups. So now it's time for September call-ups, where we call up 2 people to the big league roster. We're actually going to call up 3, though. Yuri Perez is going back down. Was this his last opportunity? I don't know. Maybe he'll get another chance. Maybe he won't. But I think we're going to give some other players opportunities, such as Robbie Jones, who was our 2nd-round pick all the way back in Season 1, and he's been developing in our farm system over the last 4 years, and I think he's ready. He's had a phenomenal season this year in AAA. He's a super well-rounded pitcher. He doesn't really have great swing and miss stuff, but other than a low strikeout rate, he has been very good every single season he's been in the organization. He's a 78 overall. He really shouldn't have stayed in the minors this long, but he just had one glaring weakness, but I think he's good enough to be called up. Andres Vina, our 1st-round pick from last year's draft, will also be coming up in the bullpen. He's been in AAA this year. He's been really good. I think he's ready to contribute at a big league level, and that's why we drafted him. We knew he was going to be ready early on, and here we go. He doesn't even spend 1 full season in the minors. Kevin Alcantara started the year in the majors for the first couple of weeks. He's had a pretty good season in AAA, so we're going to recall him up, and hopefully he'll get an opportunity to play and show his talent as he looks to be a big focal point of this team going forward, considering our entire outfield is not under contract next year. So we're going to play this last game against the Cubs, take a look at Robbie Jones's big league debut. So we will simulate the second game, and we lose 8-7. At least the offense played well, but the pitching took a big step back. Another loss from Jeffrey Springs. So we've already lost this series, and now we've got to avoid the sweep at home against a good 77-62 Cubs team who are in a tight race with St. Louis for the NL Central. And the next team on our schedule, ironically, is the St. Louis Cardinals. The Marlins, meanwhile, still in first place, although the Mets have made up a little bit of ground. And, of course, we'll be taking a look at Robbie Jones, the 21-year-old righty hailing from the Netherlands, making his big league debut for the Marlins against a really talented Chicago lineup with plenty of good players on their roster. Jones is 6'2", 193 pounds, and he's a well-rounded player. He doesn't allow a ton of hits. He doesn't allow many walks. He just doesn't strike guys out at a high rate. But other than that, he's a really, really good pitcher. His first career batter, Dansby Swanson, who fittingly strikes out on the slider. Good pitch by Jones to get that one outside of the zone as he picks up his first big league strikeout. Not a bad start for the rookie, as he faces now against the former Miami Marlin, Luis Arraez, who spent the first 4 years of the series in Miami before signing with the Cubs in the offseason, hitting around 280 as he grounds this one over to short. Can be a tough play for Bichette. Throw is not in time, an infield single for Luis Arraez, and the Cubs get a runner on base. That'll bring up the cleanup hitter, Will Smith, and I've noticed whenever we play against the Cubs, Will Smith goes off. So I'm a little bit concerned about this at bat, and sure enough, he hits this one high and deep into right center. Back at the track, at the wall, it goes off the wall. Robert unable to make the play. Luis Arraez scores. Smith on his way to third. He's safe with a triple, and the Chicago Cubs strike early. They take a 1-0 lead. Robbie Jones' first career inning was going so well, too. Then he allows the infield single, and then bang. He strikes out Ian Happ, though. I don't know what Ian Happ was thinking. I don't know if Robbie Jones deserves a ton of credit for that strikeout, but hey, 2 big league Ks in his first inning is not too bad. Not ideal that he allowed an RBI triple, though, as we go to the bottom of the first. It's Bieber fever. Shane Bieber, another Guardians franchise legend, on the mound here for the Cubs. He's been a really impactful free agent signing for them. I think he's in his 3rd season with the Cubs, already produced and helping the Cubs win a World Series a couple years ago. And this year, he has, again, been very good. He'll face off against Brian De La Cruz, who's basically assumed the role of the leadoff man going forward. I think that role really suits him because he's good at getting on base, but he's not good with guys on base. Sure enough, he starts the game with a single. Woody Landry now, hanging pitch, and he hits it sharply into right field for a base knock. Woody Landry continuing to produce as that one goes 107 off the bat. 2 on, 1 away here for Bo Bichette. Big opportunity, and he strikes out on the knuckle curve. Bo Bichette, since the All-Star break, has very quietly been not good. He was an MVP candidate the first month of the year, but he hasn't really been the same guy. Luis Robert with a grounder to third. Chicago makes the play, and they get out of the inning. The Marlins leave 2 base runners on as we move into the second. This is 21-year-old third baseman Nicholas Morrow, an international free agent who's also making his big league debut, and his first at-bat's a good one. Rips a single into left field for a base hit. Morrow's one of the better prospects in the Cubs organization. Obviously, Robbie Jones is one of the best prospects in the Marlins organization. Fitting that they play against each other in their team debuts. Pete Crow Armstrong with a single into right field. There's another base runner for the Cubs. They already have 4 hits so far. They're getting guys on early here against Jones. Nelson Velasquez draws a walk, and the bases are loaded. Robbie Jones has himself in a pickle. Now he's got to dig himself out of it. 2-2 count for Swanson. Swing and a miss on the cutter. Big strikeout for Robbie Jones, but that's only 2 outs. He needs another one here against Luis Garcia. Grounder to short. Bichette flips it over to second, and the Cubs leave him loaded. So that's how it feels. Again. That's twice today now where the opposing team has not capitalized with the bases loaded. It's a lot more fun when it's happening to the other team and not your team. Let's go top 3. Runner on for Will Smith. He goes down looking on the cutter. Smith had the RBI triple earlier. Ian Happ now with a weak grounder. Going to be a close play. Jones quickly after it, and he makes the throw. Good defense by Robbie Jones, who allowed a lot of hits early, but I feel like he's really starting to get comfortable. Against the former Marlin, Rowdy Tellez flies it into foul territory, and Sanchez makes the grab. It was an up-and-down start for Robbie Jones, but I think he's really starting to look comfortable, and overall has not looked too bad in his big league debut. He's allowed a few too many hits, but only 1 run so far. Now the problem is the offense has done nothing. Jazz Chisholm strikes out on the knuckle curve. 3 scoreless for Shane Bieber. The Marlins had the 2 hits early, and since then, 0 base runners. Not ideal. Let's move into the 4th inning now. Nicholas Morrow had a hit in his first big league at-bat. This time, he's going to hit his way back to the dugout as he goes down on the cutter. Robbie Jones is striking out quite a few batters today. I'm impressed. Here's PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong, his second hit of the game, a single into center field. So with one away, the Cubbies get themselves another base runner. That'll bring up Nelson Velasquez, drew a walk in his last at-bat, and he'll reach base once again with a single into left field. The back end of this Cubs lineup is doing some damage. 2 hits for PCA, 2 on-base appearances for Velasquez, and now Swanson crushes it into left. It's gone! 3-run shot for Dansby Swanson. And the Cubs lead it 4-0, his 14th homer of the year. Robbie Jones was really starting to pitch well, too, and he does a good job of keeping balls in the ballpark, but Swanson hits that one out of here, and Robbie Jones will be taken out of the game. An unfortunate ending to what otherwise was shaping up to be a solid big league debut. He'll be replaced by Reynaldo Lopez out of the bullpen, who faces off against Garcia. He goes down looking on the 98-mile-an-hour fastball up and away. Now against his former teammate, Luis Ariz. Hits it sharply into right, and Sanchez makes the play! What a grab by Jesus Sanchez. Yes, the Cubs scored 3 in that inning, but we're going to look at this play instead. What an impressive grab by Jesus Sanchez, who's been one of the most consistent hitters in this lineup this year, but his defense is really underrated. Very solid corner outfield glove. Here's Woody Landry leading the bottom of the 4th off strong, as that one's going to drop into center field, likely for extra bases. The Marlins went an entire way through the lineup without a base runner. The last time they got somebody on base was Woody Landry, and here he is again. Bo Bichette is now up for Miami. Runner on second. Great opportunity to score, and he's going to ground this one into left field. That'll go for a hit. Woody's going to hold up at third. Obviously, why would he go home, especially with nobody out? And so now there's runners on the corners for Luis Robert, who's got a really great opportunity to do some damage. Robert skies this one high and deep into right field. Velasquez at the track, at the wall, it's caught. Woody Landry's going to look to tag up. The throw from the cutoff man is in time! They got him! A double play from the Cubs as Woody Landry is tagged out at the plate. Good throw in right from Velasquez. And then the cutoff man at second with a dime to home plate. Nice strikeout there of Ian Happ. Good inning for Reynaldo Lopez as we go bottom 5, same score. Orelvis Martinez is up, and he will single into right field. And so the Marlins get another base runner. Martinez, of course, has been a pleasant surprise this year as he gets some more playing time. He's coming back down to earth a little bit, but still overall has really good numbers. Brian De La Cruz now back to the top of the order, 2-2. He's going fishing. Not getting anything with that bait as he gets fooled by the outside slider. 5 scoreless innings for Shane Bieber. He's been on fire as we move to the 6th. Andres Vina making his big league debut, the 22-year-old righty hailing from Venezuela. Even though he was drafted 3 years later than Robbie Jones, he's actually a year older. One of the older prospects in last year's draft, but definitely one of the most polished as he faces off against Morrow, who, of course, is also making his major league debut, and he grounds out. Good, productive first at-bat for Andres Vina. Now against Pete Crow Armstrong, he's 2 for 2 today. Gonna add another hit. 3 for 3 with 3 singles. What a day for PCA. Hey, that rhymed. And so the Cubs get one of their fastest base runners aboard. That'll bring on Nelson Velasquez, who's had a great game. Grounder over to second. Pete Crow Armstrong was already trying to steal second, so he'll be safe. And the Cubs just get 1 out. That'll bring us back to the top of the order. It's Dansby Swanson, who hit a 3-run homer in his last at-bat. Skies this one into center. Luis Robert is under it. He'll make the play. Pretty good first career inning for Andres Vina. He allows 1 hit, no runs. Productive start for the 22-year-old rookie. However, the offense has to get something going. Shane Bieber has completely shut this group down. Jazz Chisholm strikes out on the fastball. Good pitch. That'll bring up Woody Landry. He's the only guy who's shown up on this offense. He's 2 for 2. Make it 3 for 3. Landry has 50% of the Marlins' hits today. He's been great, but everybody else has laid an egg. We'll see if Bo Bichette can possibly ignite this offense. He does have a hit, one of the 3 other Marlins, but he strikes out on the knuckle curve. Good pitch by Shane Bieber for out number 2, and he would ultimately retire the rest of the lineup. Camilo Duvall in the game here in the 7th. He was pitching well. Then he pitched in the 21-run game against San Diego, and his ERA went up into the 5s. And his inning's not going to start great because Luis Garcia rips this one down the line. Brian De La Cruz in no rush to get to it, and that'll be a double. The Cubs get a runner in scoring position. We'll see if they can add to this lead as they get closer and closer to the sweep. Will Smith strikes out on the cutter. Good pitch there by Camilo Duvall for the second out of the inning. Now against the in-hap. He's behind 1-2, and this one is hit sharply into center. Luis Robert tracks it down. He will make the play. So Duvall gets through the inning, but it's not going to matter if this offense doesn't wake up, and they've got to do it soon. Shane Bieber is still in the game at around 110 pitches as he walks Jesus Sanchez. So the Marlins start the inning with a base runner. Good start. Let's keep it going. Full count now for the rookie Isaac Stu. He's got to be expecting a really nice pitch. That pitch was actually outside. He swings. He shouldn't have, but it's going to drop for a hit anyway. So I guess that works too. The Marlins start the inning with 2 runners aboard and nobody out. From there, Shane Bieber will be pulled from the game. 6 scoreless innings for Bieber. He was fantastic. Now we'll see if that turns into 2 earned runs with the guys on base looking to score. But overall, a very strong start for Shane Bieber. The Shane train chugging along, as it'll be Cade Horton, the former top draft pick, in for the Cubs. He has not pitched in a game this year. He was Chicago's other 28-man call-up. He started in 10 games last year in the big leagues, wasn't all that good, and has spent most of this year in AAA. So with 2 runners on, the Marlins are going to start going to the bench. It's Alec Boehm who singles into right field. Oh, dear God, the bases are loaded. There's nobody out. There's no excuse not to get, at the bare minimum, 2 runs. Put yourself back in the game. Austin Wells will stay in rather than going with a bench bat. And Austin Wells hits this ball, pun intended, well into center field. It goes off the wall. 1 run scores. A second looking to join. I don't know why the Cubs made the throw to second. I think they could have made a play at the plate. It's a 2-run double for Austin Wells. It's now 4-2 with 2 runners in scoring position and nobody out. The Marlins now are a base hit away from tying the game. That'll bring up Brian De La Cruz. 1-2, outside slider behind the zone. The Marlins are going to send the runners, and Boehm is out at the plate, but he's going back. Now Austin Wells is going back. What is happening? Wells at second is out, and the Marlins lose both of their base runners. I can already see the comments coming. That was really stupid to send the runners with nobody out. Nice hit, by the way, by De La Cruz. But you know when you just have like a 15-second period where you just forget how to think? Yeah, that'll happen. Nonetheless, there is a runner aboard, and so the Cubs make a pitching change. Cade Horton did not get an actual out. He just got lucky that the Marlins forgot how to run the bases. Luke Purcell will come out of the bullpen to replace him as he faces off against Chisholm with De La Cruz going for second. He is safe. It would have been a little bit funny if all 3 runners were out because of base-stealing blunders, but we had De La Cruz steal second because Jazz Chisholm is a very good clutch hitter. His contact is going to go up significantly higher, and that proves to pay dividends. Down the line and fair, De La Cruz will score. It's an RBI double for Jazz Chisholm, and we are within 1. It's now a 4-3 ball game with the tying run on second base. That'll bring up Woody Landry. He has been awesome today. 3 for 3. Can he get another one? No, he strikes out. That might be the worst 3-run inning I've ever seen. The Marlins have put themselves back into the game. They had a great inning, but I can't feel like that there wasn't a lot left to be desired. They had 2 base runners thrown out for being morons. Into the 8th now, Griffin Jax comes into the game for the Marlins here against Nicholas Morrow, who strikes out on the slider. Good start to the inning. 2 away now. That will bring out the following batter who would be out. Bottom 8, Xavier Ebner is in for Chicago, looking to hold on to this lead for the Cubbies as he faces off against Bo Bichette to open up the inning. The 1-2. Bichette hits this one sharply into the gap. Nelson Velasquez misplays it. Bo's probably thinking 3, but after that last inning, when there's nobody out, there's no reason to be ultra aggressive. He's going to hold up at second. So the Marlins get a runner in scoring position with nobody out. They've got to tie the game here. Luis Robert strikes out on the outside slider. Got completely fooled into that pitch. 1 away now for Jesus Sanchez. He hits this one up the middle. Past the glove of the second baseman. Bichette's going to look to score. The throw to the plate is not in time, and we are tied at 4. Big swing for Jesus Sanchez, and we're tied up. That'll bring us to Isaac Stu, 3-2. Gets a pitch right down the middle. Again, I feel like he didn't really get the sweet spot there, but he still gets a base hit. That works. And now there's 2 runners aboard. with still only one out, and the Cubs will make another pitching change. Jordan Montgomery is in the game, obviously known as a starter. Most of his games this year have been as a starter, but the Cubs have actually moved him into the bullpen over these last few weeks. He'll face off against Alec Boehm, who grounds to third. The one thing the Marlins could not do was put the ball on the ground for a double play. That's exactly what happens. The Marlins tied the game. If you told me going into the bottom of the seventh it would be tied, I would be ecstatic. But the Marlins had so many other opportunities. The base running blunders in the seventh and the double play in the eighth inning have costed this team probably 3 or 4 additional runs from being scored. And hopefully that won't screw up the Marlins. It's time for Ball Sewald to pitch going into the ninth inning. Tied at 4. Swanson strikes out for out number 2. And so that will bring us to Luis Garcia. Crushes it into straightaway center. Robert watches it fly. The Cubs take the lead 5-4. Luis Garcia with his 13th home run of the year. And it turns out the Marlins not scoring more in the 7th and 8th might have costed them. Luis Ariz grounds out to second, but a pretty good inning for the Cubs. They take the lead with a solo home run by Luis Garcia. We go bottom 9. It's time for Cody Hoyer, the all-star closer, to come in for the save off of the home run by the young second baseman, Luis Garcia. Hoyer is 41 of 44 on save ops this year with a pretty solid 2.58 ERA. Hoyer will start with the pinch hitter, Kevin Alcantara, his first at bat back in the big leagues, and he's going to ground this one over to first. The big man, Rowdy Tellez, makes the play for the first out of the inning. That'll bring us to Brian De La Cruz. He's had a solid game, pair of hits, 2 for 4. He's behind, though, 1 and 2, and he's going to ground this one to short. Should be a routine throw for Swanson, and it is. The Marlins now down to their final out, as that will bring up Jazz Chisholm. Now down to their final strike. Here's the 2-2 from Hoyer, swing and a miss, and the Cubs win it 5-4 as Chicago successfully completes the sweep of the Miami Marlins. This was a bad series for us. 3 losses. All 3 of them were within 1 run. We kept them close, but we couldn't win these close games. Losing games and series in September to playoff caliber teams is really not ideal, especially today where we absolutely should have won. Yes, the Cubs had control for most of this game. Yes, they were clutch with the home run by Garcia and the big home run in the 4th inning by Swanson. Their pitching was better than ours today. Shane Bieber was great. The bullpen was not so great, but Bieber was phenomenal. The Cubs were better, but we still should have won. We had a great opportunity to get more than 3 in the 7th, but we just had a complete brain fart on the bases, getting 2 guys out. And then in the 8th inning, we got 2 more guys on and grounded into a double play. The one time we actually succeed with the bases loaded, we find a way to still screw it up. The offense had a lot of hits today, 14, but we were not clutch, which continues to be the issue with this team. Robbie Jones in his debut had some good moments and some bad moments. The strikeouts were nice. 7 hits, 4 runs, though, not so good. Andres Vina was pretty good, though, in his debut. So we are now swept by the Cubs. We fall to 83 and 57. And it doesn't get any easier. The Cardinals are a really good team, and the Cardinals have got to be pretty pissed off at us for losing 3 to the Cubs, who they need to lose, and then 3 games on the road against a not-so-good Nationals team. So as I started to simulate, we got some bad news. Bo Bichette, broken arm. He'll be out for 1 to 2 months. That is really not ideal. So Bo Bichette's going to be out for the rest of the regular season, and he's probably going to miss the start of the playoffs, if not maybe the entire postseason. He'll be put on the 10-day IL. Right when Nick Fortes is about to be healthy, this happens. And that's kind of been the thing with this team this year. Somebody gets healthy, and right when we're about to be a healthy unit, somebody else gets hurt. Bo Bichette has not been good since the All-Star break, but this is still a massive loss for us. And the timing really sucks because, again, this is when Nick Fortes was supposed to come back. Orelvis Martinez is going to have to step up even more. He's going to play a lot. Ha-Seong Kim has really struggled the last few months, but he's going to have to step up, and he'll be probably playing a lot more as well. We also have an extra roster spot now with Bo going on the IL, so we'll be calling up Ariel Amador, a 23-year-old infield prospect in AAA. He's having a really good year. He's not currently on the 40-man, but we're going to add him and bring him up to the big league club, give him an opportunity in the majors for the final few weeks of the regular season. So Nick Fortes is healthy, but then we get a new injury. Woody Landry, sprained elbow ligament. It won't keep him out for the playoffs, thank God, but he's still going to miss a week or 2. Ryan Poles will replace him. But there's more. Luis Robert, finger contusion. He's going to be out for a week or two. So again, not going to miss playoff time. But this is not the time of the year to get hurt. James Wood will be called up to replace him. He's been good in AAA. We got him during the middle of the season as a buy low candidate from the Nationals where he was really struggling. And now the lineup looks a whole lot different with no Bichette, no Woody Landry, and no Luis Robert, all getting injured within the span of 3 games. We ended up going 4-2 in the games we simulated, headlined by Sandy Alcantara with a complete game shutout, Edward Cabrera, 8 scoreless, Sandy Alcantara, 8 innings, 2 earned runs allowed. These 2 pitchers are carrying us to wins. 3-0 in the games that they pitched, 1-2 in the games that they didn't pitch. The Mets have caught all the way up. They're only a game and a half behind us, and it's clear the Mets are in no danger of missing the playoffs. So that means we're not in danger of missing either, but we are in danger of losing this division. We're less than 2 games ahead of them. The Mets have made up some serious ground today, and we have 3 of our best offensive players who are now hurt. We can't continue to single-handedly rely on 2 pitchers because they're only going to play 40% of the games. So with our offense hurt and struggling, we're in a sticky position. We play the Mets in a 3-game series at Citi Field. We have Edward Cabrera for the first game, but we will not have Sandy Alcantara available. That's going to be a huge series for us. We also have Atlanta twice down the stretch. The Braves are on the edge of the playoff spot. They are fighting as hard as they can. We have a really tough schedule down the stretch, and it's not going to be easy with the inconsistent pitching, the inconsistent hitting, and now all the injuries. I think next episode we're probably going to wrap up the regular season. We'll find out if the Marlins win their very first division title in team history. I hope everybody enjoyed the episode. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.